Nate, Butterfly Cycles here. Got a cool little project. Putting a police style solo seat on a Softail. V-Twin makes a cool little kit to do this with I think it's a proprietary T-bar, because I can't find a Harley one that looks similar. And then a bracket to go between the tanks, and then a little mount here to simulate the seat post coming up through the frame, which Evolutions do not do, because they had to pinch the back down to fit the motor in there. Behind the camera here, just kind of showing you what was involved in this. So pretty easy. I did do a couple custom things that not in the instructions, but for the most part, the bracket bolts to the tank mounts. So I just pulled the factory bolts out, removed the washers, and then used the bracket itself as a washer. I also had to install this bolt pretty tight before I bolted that bracket down. So you just lift this up, you get access to the bolts, bolt them down. Like I said, this seat mount this T-bar was a little different than a factory one. I've never seen a factory one have a hole cut out into it. The other thing I did is I didn't like the angle of this simulated seat post. So what I did is I made a couple cutouts there, and I'll take a still photo because this camera does not do a great job at close-ups. So all I did is I set this on top of the seat post, drew a little line around it, and then took a rotary file and made it fit. The other thing I did not like is they sent crummy little self-tapping screws made out of Chinesium to hold this down. So what I went and did is I actually drilled and tapped these holes for 1/4 Allen head screws. So it'll be a much more secure fitment. And then when this comes down, the seat post, well, hard to see, but you have the seat post behind the head here, and when this thing is bolted in place, it looks like it comes straight up out of the frame like the old shovels and pans, well, all the way back to a knuckle. So I decided to do this video because there's not a lot of information out there on this V-Twin setup. And it looks cool. Like I said, I drilled and tapped the frame. There was plenty of meat there to get 1/4 bolts in there. I did not like the self-tapping Chinesium screws that were sent with it. But other than that, it looks cool. It looks good. There's almost zero give on that simulated seat post. And the other thing nobody mentions, or I couldn't find, is the seat height is tall. With this bike sitting bolt upright, the seat height is 32 inches, which is dirt bike territory, right? This is not the seat I'm going to run. I have my eye on 2 different old style seats. I'm not a huge fan of this style. This came off my 65. I took it off for a nice simple solo seat with the cobbler edge, which I think is what's going on this bike. But I will let you know when I figure that out. So one of the things I did to the simulated seat post on this V-Twin kit was shorten it. So this used to be from here up to the center of the eyelet, used to be 3 inches. I got it down to, and if you collapse this a little more, we can see that I got it down to about 1 3/4 inches. So almost half. I removed the spring, the top cup, and I assume this was just a kind of a wear bar spacer. So this spring was originally in a cup here. This was on top. This went like this, and it was 3 inches from the base of this to the center. And I took all this stuff out. The spring didn't do a damn thing anyways. And I made a spacer out of Delron to fit up inside here. And then I chucked this piece up in my lathe and just parted it off. I took about 1 inch off of it. So now it's just solid. So shorten it up from 3 inches to 1 3/4 inches. The other thing I did was the base that this screws into. I took 400 thousandths off of it. So we're looking at about a net drop of 2 inches, 2 1/8 total over what it was originally. Because I wrote it, and holy smokes, it was dirt bike territory. So it's a little tight to get the pin and all the assorted hardware in, but it's okay. So there is a spacer here. 2 little rub strips. I gotta let this down and then I'm gonna put the pin through. It is tight. Not impossible, but tight. That's pretty good. All right. Not impossible, but tight. That's pretty good. All right. So if you look at the before and after pics, show you ergonomically. Much better. About 30 inches. All in all, pretty happy with the way it turned out. I really enjoy the pogo seat. I don't think I'm going to run this style of seat. I think I want to get a thinner padded early style leather seat for it. But I'm going to ride like this for a while. I'm going to see how it goes. If I need to do any adjusting, I can do that. Height wise, I think I'm probably about as low as you can go on this. We took a little over 2 inches, probably 2 1/8 out of a 3-inch simulated seat post. So we're right at less than half of what it should be. So I dig it. I'll include a before and after photo of the full seat post. But for me, man, ergonomically, it was almost like I was trying to stand up on the bike. So it stretched me quite a bit. So, all right, cool. This is starting to look like the 50-something pan head that it was modeled after. Nate, Barn Find Cycles, be safe out there.